afternoon.
How is everybody today? I'm glad y'all are here. I want to talk to you guys about your database. And the little teaser that I put out there is what's your database worth would be the reason for coming in. Well, you know, that's probably a pretty easy answer for some, not an easy answer for others, because if you don't have a database, what's it worth? Nothing. That's exactly right. So I want you guys, what the real intention of the class is today is for you guys to understand what is the value of having a database. If you have a database, how can you estimate what is a predictable income from that database if you work it correctly, and what do you do to maximize the results that you get out of your database? Okay, does that sound like a good plan for today? All right, so what is a database? Let's start with that.
Is it the same as a database?
Huh?
Is it the same as a database?
The same as a database, or as Lance Loken and his team refer to it, it's their data bank. Okay, because that's where their money comes from. They want to call it their data bank. So, Chris, what's a database?
Database is the people that you can immediately reach, and that you can utilize in some form or fashion. Like the people that are, well, to us specifically in real estate, people that are either looking to buy, sell, or invest in them.
Okay, and that's if they have a need right now. Right. But is there a reason for me to have a relationship with people that don't have a need right now?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. What are the two main reasons I would want to have a relationship with them?
Referrals.
Referrals. They know people even if they don't have a lead.
Yeah.
Okay. And the second reason is?
They will eventually.
They will eventually have a need. Okay. But if I'm not maintaining that relationship with them, I'm not going to get either of those two things. So really, if you want to think of a database this way, it's just a collection of names, numbers, in ways of contacting people. So addresses and email addresses, organized so that you can maintain a relationship with them. Okay. Gary Keller, his first database was note cards and a file box. Okay. It doesn't have to be, so many people think the database has to be computerized. I would say technology's made it much easier. It's given us more tools that we can use, but it doesn't have to be. But it does have to be organized in such a way that you can actually put it to use for yourself, okay? And it needs to be complete. If I just have a list of names, is that gonna help me? No, I've gotta have a way to be able to interact with them. So we wanna build it. Now, I wanna take you back to Gary Keller's book, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. So a lot of this stuff started with him. This is how he built our company, was off of the strength of his database. And he has some really interesting things to say. This is all going to be part of the lead generation model chapter that's in the book, okay? Because there's 4 models that we follow. There's our economic model that says if we want to make this much money, this is how many sales we're going to have, okay? And it breaks it down. We want to have this many sales, we need to have this many appointments. We have this many appointments, we need to do these activities. Then we have our lead generation model. In order for me to hit those numbers, to have those appointments, here's what I need to do in terms of finding people that have a need, okay? Then you have your organizational model, because if my goal is big enough, am I gonna be able to do it all myself? No, I'm gonna need a team. So based on my production level, here's how a team gets built. Here's who's the most important things, here's everybody's role. And then there's your budget model, okay? Because it's not about how much money you make, it's about how much money you keep, right? Okay? If I make $1 million in real estate this year and I spend $1.2 million on leads and advertising, did I accomplish my goals? No.
What page is that on?
We're around page 133. I'm actually going to be kind of skipping around a little bit. But on 133, where it starts out with, you can never have enough good leads. Never. And that is so true. And we talk so much about lead generation, guys. And what do we mean by lead generation?
Contacting
Contacting.
relationship with them.
Well, that's kind of, touching our database and be part of a 36 touch, but really when it gets down to the heart of it, when we talk lead generation, what do we find? What are we talking about?
Connecting with people.
Relationships with people.
And that's a part of it.
Clients that have a need now.
That's it. We're trying to find people that have a need right now. Okay? So when we think about that, what's the best source of lead generation?
People around you.
The people you already know. Yes, we can have open houses, we can go door knocking, we can work for sell by owners, we can work expireds, but in all of those, we don't have a relationship yet with them, okay? So people like to do business with people they like, okay? People like to do business with people they trust. Well, the people that are in my sphere, hopefully they already like me, they already trust me, they want to see me succeed. I don't have to cross that threshold with them. I just need to find out if they have a lead. Whereas if I go out and I'm working with my habit mets, if you will, I've got to develop a relationship with them before they're going to become a client, okay? So my short step to getting business is work with the people that already know me, love me, and trust me, okay? But I have to have a system for doing that. And when we talk about our database and our database producing income for us, okay? So if you want to start, and this is where we're going, if you want to think in terms of our database having a dollar figure, okay? What's going to be the determination from what are the factors here that are going to influence this over here? Okay, so what would be the number one thing? If I want to close 100 transactions this year, what do I need to know about my database? What's going to influence it?
How many people are in it?
How many people are in it? Okay. That's one. And how good is my relationship? Right? Because I could just go buy a mailing list, right? And have 3,000 people in my database tomorrow, okay? Is that going to generate money for me? No. If I have no relationship with them at all, they never hear from me, never communicate with me, I'm not going to get business with that. Now, I can certainly start to market them, call them, build relationships over time, but just growing it big is not necessarily the most efficient way to do this. But if I've only got 20 people in my database and they are all my best friends, is that going to generate 100 sales for me?
Yes.
Hopefully. If they,
No. I mean, over time, if I get referrals from them and add them to my database, but my database is no longer now 20 if I get those referrals, right? That number keeps growing over time. So as we think about our database and interacting with our database, these are the two things that I want us to really focus on today, is growing my database to a certain number, and then how do I cultivate my relationship here? And the reason this is so important is you go back to 2003 when Gary published the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. He gave us a formula that if you have a database that you have a good relationship with, here's the predictable outcome that you can expect. And back then in 2003, it was for every 12 contacts in your database, that would equal 2 transactions. And he talked about it in this way in the book because for those 12 contacts, you could expect to get 1 piece of business from them and a piece of business from a referral, okay? But this was contingent on you having good relationships with everybody that was in your database. Now, since then, things have changed. And what we know now, well, he started doing the research for the book around 2000. So we're now 20 years later looking at 20-year different later data. that number has changed, okay? Now instead of 6-to-1, for a highly relational database, you should expect for every 10 contacts to get 1 transaction. And he stopped talking about whether it's a referral transaction or it's somebody that's in your database. But for every 10 people in, you should get 1 transaction. Now with that, we can certainly use this number, but in this room, who in here has an exceptionally good relationship with every person in their database?
Not every person, but
Okay.
No.
And a lot of them. So your number may be closer to this, okay? When I run numbers with most people nowadays, I say, let's start with 20 contacts to 1 transaction. Okay, is a great place to start. Because you may not have your database to the size you want it to be. I know you come in with a huge database, Chris, which is awesome. I wouldn't be doing any of the lead generation, but I'm working that base 100%. Okay? But it's gonna take us time to build relationships with the people that are in our database, or that we're adding to our database, that we're growing through our open houses, through our door knocking, through our store knocking, through whatever. If I drop 20 people in my database this week, do I have a relationship with them yet? No. Okay. So this number, somewhere between these is where we can expect that real number to take place. So when you went back and you wrote your goals earlier this year, and you said, this year I want to close 20 transactions, okay? Well, if it takes 20 contacts for each transaction, where does my database need to be? 400. So it's just that simple. Okay. There equal 20 transactions equals 400 contacts. If I do not have 400 contacts in my database, that's my first objective. What do I need to do to meet enough people and capture their information to get myself to 400 contacts? Okay? The second thing that I have to do is, what do I need to do to build the types of relationships with those 400 contacts that I'm going to consistently get that business, either through referrals or through them choosing to use us themselves. Is that making sense so far? So let's talk about one customer for just a second. So now you see how the size of your database can impact what your income is pretty directly. But let's talk about one customer. So I have a client that I sold a house to this month, okay? And it was an average price home, typical commission, okay? So we're here in 2020, right? And I helped them buy a house. What was my commission?
$3,000.
Okay, I can use 3,000, okay? Or let's say that it was $250,000 home, which is what we expect it to be. 3% of that, 7,500. Okay? This is where most agents stop, okay? They think very transactionally. You know, they want that next deal, they want that next 7,500, okay? And that's the reason that we know that while 86% of people that bought or sold a house said they would use their agent again, only 12% do, okay? The number one reason why they don't use the same agent,
because they keep out of touch, they're not in touch.
They don't know who the
not
agent
in touch.
was.
They don't remember who they were,
that's so
okay?
sad.
And so how often does the typical person buy or sell a home?
Every 7 to 10 years.
7 to 10 years, okay? So let's say 10 years is how long it is. So in 2030, okay, I'm going to help them sell this home and buy another home, okay? So let's assume for just a second though that prices haven't changed, commission rates haven't changed. We don't know what 2030 is gonna look like, okay? But that would be $15,000 that I would make, okay? Now, how long, how many times in a lifetime? If they're going every 10 years, how many times are they likely to buy or sell a home while we're in the real estate business? Well, that's partly age dependent, okay?
Right.
I'm 50, I'm not gonna help them buy or sell their next 6 homes, be up there at 110, you know, trying to show them a house, okay? But I want you guys to realize, you know, that can add up considerably over time. And so you've got to think about the lifetime value of that particular customer. You know, where so many agents lose sight is that maybe real estate's not going to be the right match for me, or maybe I'm only going to be in the business for, you know, another 10 or 15 years. That's not important to them. Well, I don't care if you're going to be in the business 1 more year, 2 more years, 3 more years. This isn't even where the value is. I did an exceptional job with this person, okay? I built a relationship with them. We spent 3 months together, and I helped them fulfill their next step of the dream. What's a reasonable expectation for me?
Referral business?
They're gonna give me a referral, okay? Well, in 2021, if I get 2 referrals from them, okay? What's that mean over here in commissions? 15,000, and in 22, another 15,000, and in 23, another 15,000, and 24, 15,000, okay? And this is only looking at 1 layer, right? Because hopefully for each of these referrals, in 10 years, they're gonna buy and sell with me again. And I'm gonna get 2 referrals from them every single year, okay? Even if it were just 1 referral every year for 10 years at $15,000 each time, that's or it's $7,500 each time, 1 referral every year for 10 years. That's $75,000 plus the $7,500 I made and their repeat business. You need to start thinking that every client you have is worth $100,000 in your pocket if you just build a good relationship with them, okay? So don't be afraid to call and talk and have a relationship with those people that you already know. Okay? So are we starting? Go ahead, Chris.
I was gonna add to that. That is a very real thing. I actually experienced this with a lady that I just closed on her house. She sent me the lady that she works with. They're listing their home with me, and they're buying another one. And they sent me their sister, who I'm working with now too.
Yeah.
And then she said that she has somebody else that's looking too. So and it can happen while you're working with them, but it's a very active thing, and that works because the lady that I closed her house, she's actually, I'm redoing some furniture for her because I have like my little furniture business on the side, maintaining that relationship, you know, and I'm very involved with her. But that's very important that you nurture that, talk to them, spend time with them, you know, that sort of thing. So very, very, very true.
Yeah. And we do you guys see the value now in the database? Are we starting to get a sense of, we're not talking about little numbers, this is a, you know, well, yeah, I ought to do that, I should do that, okay? I want you guys leaving this meeting and saying, this is my #1 priority. I've got to build my database. The database is the heart of my business, okay? The other value that I want you guys to realize for your database is there's gonna come a time when you wanna get out of the business, right? Well, wouldn't it be nice to have a business to sell when you get out of the business, okay? Well, in real estate, what is the only thing of value you have?
Your database.
Your database. Nobody wants your used desk. Nobody wants your old computer or the collection of pens that have some attorney's names written on it. Okay, the only thing of value you have is your database. And the only way your database is valuable is if you have a relationship with it. Okay? For you to be able to send out an email or a series of emails to those people that say, hey guys, I've decided to retire, but I want to introduce you to Chris Tolliver. You know, fantastic gentleman. We've been working together for the last few years. He's somebody that I trust to take care of you the same way that I took care of you. Okay? That's the value. You know, you think about a dentist office, doctor's office, attorney's office. You know, an attorney sells their business. What is it that they're selling? You know, their old school books, you know, the law books on that shelf? No. It's the relationships that they've cultivated over years. It's all that repeat business. So you have the value that your database is going to provide to you right now. You have the value that it's going to provide you in referrals and repeat business over years. And you have the value of what eventually is going to be the only thing you have to sell when you decide to close. Is there anything else more important that we ought to be doing than working on building our database? No, there's not. So that's where we're going to next. So when we talk about a database, and Gary talks about this in his book, so I'm not coming up with anything new here. There are 3 stages of working with our database. And the first one's going to be to create it. The second one is going to be to grow it. And the third one is going to be to touch it. Okay? So, when it comes to creating our database, what are some of the things that we need to take in consideration here? Well, the first one is I would tell you guys there are no shortcuts. This is work that needs to be done for which you will not receive any money now for. And that's where so many agents get stuck, is they know this isn't going to pay me this week to set my database up. Okay? But it's something you need to do. You need to schedule a time to do the data entry to get it built. And it's never going to be easier to do than right now. Okay? Because what's your sphere of influence going to look like in a year?
Much bigger.
Or 2 years? Or 3 years? Which means it's more work. A year from now, do you guys expect to be as busy as you are right now, or busier? Busier. So when's the right time to start your database?
No.
Right now. It's never going to be easier than right now. So the first thing I want you guys to do, and again, I told you it's going to be work, you have got to go cultivate and pull together every single person you know, okay, that you have a relationship with. So that's going to be emptying out your phone, your Facebook, and your social media,
Email.
your
Contact.
LinkedIn, your email, your church or synagogue or whatever religious group that you belong to. It's going to be your kids' sports teams, your PTA. It's going to be your bowling league, okay, and your business relationships you have already. I encourage you guys, get in your bank statement and go through and look and see, who did I spend money with in the last year? Okay? Who does your nails? Who does your hair? Who's your doctor? Who's your dentist? Where do I get my clothes dry cleaned? Okay? Because very often we've got some kind of relationship with them. What are my favorite restaurants? Any business you do business with, your lawn care guy, your roofer, whoever it is, this is where you're going to start. And are you going to know everything about all of these people? No. Some of them might just know their name, some name and phone number, some name and email, some name and address. That becomes my first job now. I've got
Joey, add to that list like your previous work. like one of our agents,
Yeah.
she's got her whole database of the 200 plus employees at her previous job that she took with her when she left. So she go back do that. I'm sure, Chris, you capitalize on your furniture business, or other guys capitalizing on his side drumming tutoring thing. So there's
And your
things there.
security work. So, but that becomes your first job. I've now got, for me, a reason to contact all of them, because I need their address, their phone number, their email, okay? But it's a quid pro quo, okay? I need to go into every one of those conversations with an expectation of, if I want something from them, what do I need to be prepared to do? Give them something, okay? So I've got to ask myself, with each of these groups or each of these individuals, what do I have that may be of value to them, okay? And it may just be sympathetic ear, okay? It could be that you have market information that they want. It could be you have connections that they want, okay? Figure out what do I have to offer them, okay? It could be as simple as congratulations, okay? Because I saw you just got married on Facebook, right? So where are you guys gonna be living now? Okay, moving into his place, her place. Okay, have those conversations. This will get you to your starting point. Okay, until this is done, I would say there's nothing else to do in terms of lead generation. Okay, all of these people need to be touched at least once, just to get that information. And we want to do it pretty quickly, okay? And if you will do this exercise, you guys will find business really, really quickly. And you will rekindle connections that you had that you will appreciate. Because do we not all develop relationships with people, and then kind of we move away from that job, we relocate, our kids don't go to school anymore, and what happens to those relationships? Yeah, they just kind of get fallen. But you genuinely like that person, and they liked you, you know? That's really easy to start those things back up, okay? So it will give you a fuller life, too, all right? So once we have this done, if I don't have my number, okay? I needed 400 in my database. I needed 600 in my database. I needed 1,000 in my database, okay? And what's gonna be dependent on what that number is how big are your goals, right? What is it I want to do? So it's not going to be the same number. I can't say, everybody in there, you need 600 people in your database, okay? That may not be consistent with your goals. You may only need 200, okay? Or you may need 2,000, okay? But then I've got to have a plan to grow my database, okay? And we call that lead generation also, all right? Again, we're looking for people that have an opportunity, have a need in their lives, okay? But don't forget, our database is lead generation, okay? All we're trying to do when we talk about lead generation is finding somebody that has a need right now, okay? My easiest place to do that's with my database, but if I don't have enough people in my database, what do? Well, I host an open house. I go door knock. I work for sell by owners and expireds. I do networking. I do social media. But this too is a place where I have to be really intentional, okay? Because is it just enough to go knock doors and have great conversations with people? No. What's element is missing there?
Follow
Follow up.
Okay. So how?
Get the information.
Get their information. Okay? So just because you go meet people and have great conversations does not get them in your database. Two things have to happen that you have to be very intentional about in order to get them from here into your database. One of those is get their information. Okay? What's the second one?
Put them in your database.
Put them in your database. Yeah. Otherwise, you're gonna wind up with little slips of paper. You're gonna have a notebook that's filled with little scratches all over here and there. Okay. So you have to be intentional. You gotta set time aside every day at the end of whatever your lead generation is, or at least once a week. Okay. Have very intentional time on your calendar that this is my time to get everybody I met this week or this day into my database, and then get them on whatever touch campaign we're gonna have over here. Okay.
That's so hard to do for me.
It is. Okay. And guys, there is another option here that's under here. I'm gonna put a dotted line because I say this with caution. You know, you also have an opportunity to pay for leads. Right? What am I talking about?
Zillow leads.
Zillow, Realtor.com,
Market
Market Leader. There's lots of different services out there where you can pay, okay? But I promise you that the return on your cost there is going to be so much higher than any of these other ways, okay? You are creating a lot of extra work for yourself when you pay for leads.
I think you said that
Seems like
wrong.
a shortcut, right?
He did.
You
You
said
said
it
it
backwards.
backwards.
You said it
Oh.
backwards.
You said
You
you're
made
gonna
it
get a
sound
lot
like
of
paying for
return.
leads is the way to
No, no, no.
Okay, let's pay.
The-
You said the
Yeah,
cost
said
of
we
return on
hired.
investment is so much lower.
There
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
are higher.
The
Yeah.
cost here are so much higher. Yeah, the return on investment is so much lower here
Right.
than up here. And we can throw farming in there as well. Because you think about it, you have to work a internet lead so hard for such a low conversion rate. Okay, the typical conversion rate for these is about 2%. Okay, so that means for every one transaction I have that makes it to the closing table, I have to work 50 leads. How many phone calls is that? How many, appointments potentially is that? And those leads are not a one touch and you're done. Typically, if you're gonna do this at a really high level, you have to have 10 contacts in the first 7 days and a plan to follow up with them for 8 months. So if you're going to do this though, your database and using your database and leveraging your database is extremely critical, because the average timeline for an internet lead to turn to a piece of business is 8 months. Okay, so it's not something, well, I'm just gonna sign up for Zillow for a month or two. That's great, but don't be surprised if you get 60 leads in 2 months and 0 business. You're gonna have to work it for 8 months. And if I'm gonna put that much energy and effort into something I paid for, why not put that energy and effort into stuff that's free? I'm gonna get the same results or better over here.
And I want to know, pay for leads don't just give you a lead. They give that lead to everybody in this room.
Yep.
You're fighting
So you're
with
competing.
everybody. You're not getting, this is your lead, Mama. This is your lead, Chris. This is your, we're all going to fight for that person. And it's always
Those are
money.
difficult.
They are difficult.
When you call them, they have,
I mean-
stories to say.
It's even
You get the same
difficult
calls from
working with
everybody
like the
else,
people
so
that
it's
you
different.
know, because like the people that you know, you think that they would use you as an agent, and they might not even use you. So it's even difficult working with people that you know, but really just finding a way to make your service your business card. That's how I was able to transition that one lady into her friends, going above and beyond for her, crazy calls, driving an hour, all that stuff. But because I have I'm playing chess with it, thinking about the long game. But, doing all that for her, she was like, man, this guy's great. Let me send you to, this is the guy to go to. And then they feel the same way. Hey, here's my sister, So then it becomes one of those things that your service is what they come for. Your service is going to far exceed everybody else's, because other than that, everybody else can do the same thing, transaction.
Right.
So you have to find a way to make yourself stand out.
Well, and you also have to be intentional about asking for those other opportunities.
Yes.
because that's one thing you guys will find. The general public does not understand our job and our role. Hey, Christine.
Hi, I'm waiting on the elevator.
No, it's good to see you.
I just want to say hi.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you too.
They don't understand our job and our role. You will have a client that you're working with, let's not say client, a customer that you're working with, you don't have them in a buyer broker relationship, that you are just 100% confident they're going to use you. Okay? And then they're going to call you up one day and tell you, hey, I just want to share the good news, we're under contract.
Like, while we're talking, we just
Yep.
And they'll be like, well, we were going to use you, but it's okay.
Yeah.
They're also with Keller Williams.
so it's not about me.
It's not your, but they don't understand that, okay? They don't understand that the broker's not providing you with customer after customer, okay? I mean, because think about it. Now that you've been in the business, is what you've seen and experienced and learned different than what your expectations were before you first thought, I want to be a real estate agent? Yeah. Is our role different? Is what we do for our clients different? You know, the general public does not know everything that we do for them, okay? And that's on us, okay? We've done a poor job as an industry of teaching them what our value is. That's part of what your job is now, is everybody that's in your sphere is teaching them what's your value. Why should they lean on you? Why should they seek you out for advice and help and to be their agent through the process? Help them understand what they don't know. Okay? And we'll help. So, everybody comfortable with the create?
Can I just ask a quick question?
Yeah, please.
Maybe people might be able to help, but, 9 times out of 10, somebody may say, oh, I have so-and-so, then my realtor, they sold me my house 5 years ago.
Sure.
Like, how do you overcome those kinds of obstacles? Because everybody cannot always, somebody has somebody. How do you then become, what are your tips for then becoming that person?
There are great scripts for that, and that's where
Okay.
it's learning. Here are 2 or 3 very good replies or answers to that, and then tailoring it to yourself.
Right.
And practicing it enough during role play, practicing enough in your head that you're not just reciting a script. This is, you have the answer for that, okay? And there can be lots of reasons why someone might not want to choose their previous realtor. The one you'll probably get more often than not is that they have a friend or a relative, and there's some great responses and things for them to think about. But again, you build a relationship with people over time. You demonstrate their value. If they're buying a home in 30 days and they have a really close relationship with their realtor, your opportunity may be slim that's there, okay? But if you've demonstrated your value, you've been there and supported them, you provided them with stuff over time, well, yeah, their friend may be a realtor, their nephew may be a realtor, but they know you're the real deal. They want that expert that you now demonstrated yourself to be. We already know most other agents don't maintain that relationship over time. And so you have the opportunity to step in, because I guess the way to think about it, and I'll get to you in just a second, because I won't forget you. Tom Smith and his wife, they're in your database. They're in your store, okay? When they decide to sell their house, are you gonna know? No. You're never gonna know the moment that anybody in your world makes the decision it's time to buy or it's time to sell. The best that we can do, the best that we can hope for, is that we've built enough of a relationship with them that we're their next thought.
To stay on their radar.
Yeah.
To stay on the radar, we want to have that mind share with them, okay? That we're their first thought, or we're the next person to call, okay? And then the way that happens is if we're systematically calling on a regular basis.
So I just had a light bulb moment. I think I thought coming into this that lead generation would be constantly just looking for people to call, but it's just about maintaining
It's
the lead
maintaining the
generation. Is you
relationships.
might not necessarily be calling 10 brand new people. You're also calling people that you just you already know.
And there is a great conversation.
Because that was overwhelming to me. I'm like, how am I supposed to find 3 hours worth of lead generate 3 hours worth of new people? But it's not necessarily that. It's calling people
It's
you
a
already
mix.
know. I
Yeah. You're not alone. There's a lot of
So-
people that get overwhelmed by that thought of lead generation,
Yeah.
being that long and filling that time.
And if you will get a copy of this book, get your hands on it, come to my office, you can read it in there. But on 133, they talk about positioning and how you want to create mind share and capture mind share with people. But what he also talks about is that the quality is in the quantity. Okay? I don't say most, many, probably most real estate agents, most salespeople, they want to talk to that person that's ready. Okay? They want that qualified lead. They want that, and so they're very selective about who they call. We don't know who's going to buy or sell a house. Okay? In order to find the quality, we have to talk to the quantity. Okay? The more people you talk to, the more opportunity you're going to be exposed to. And he just puts it really succinctly. Whereas most real estate agents do modest lead generation and get modest results, a few do massive lead generation and reap massive rewards. Okay? Hold on, Chris was before you. I'm going behind. Chris, what was it you were going to say?
Just in regards to what you were saying, whenever you do encounter that objection, you have to uncover and overcome what the true objection is, because even though they tell you something, it may not be that true reason why they're not going back to that person. So you always want to, it's called rinse and repeat. So you basically want to reintroduce it to them. Oh, so this is the reason why you're not going back to that person. And the reason
Well, she say they want to go back to their person.
Right. Yeah. If they want to go back to their person, this is what you have to do: is just find out what's important to them and why they are going back.
Right.
But once you find that out, you have to be able to, like what Trey is saying, pivot and maneuver and be ready for that with those scripts and with those responses. But ask that very important question: well, what's the most important thing to you? What were they able to do? Because whatever they were able to do may help you be successful with your next client, even if they decide not to use you. You can learn from it.
And one of these keep in mind, I know you're thinking phone, okay, and having that objection over the phone with people that are in your sphere. The thing I want to remind you, when you're doing your lead generation, what's the purpose of it? What's the ideal outcome of a phone conversation with somebody?
Face to face.
Get the appointment.
Yeah.
That's it. So in that case, it would be, I certainly appreciate you have a relationship there, and I respect that, and I would love it if every one of my customers wanted to come back to me. I work really hard to make sure that happens. But a lot's changed in the market in the last 5 years. I would just love the opportunity to sit down with you for 30 minutes. Let me show you what I do for my clients and see if there's a possibility that I might be a better fit for you this time around. Okay? The whole objective is just get the appointment. Then at the appointment, I can ask the questions like Chris was talking about, and then present my case and ask for them to hire me. It's hard to do a sale over the phone.
Yeah.
I'm not going to convince them to use me over the phone, okay? I just want to convince them, give me 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Give me 45 minutes of your time. That's my whole objective, is to get face to face with them. And it doesn't matter whether they hire me or not. I'm there building a relationship, no matter what. I want them to hire me, okay? Yeah, it affects my bottom line, but it also builds my skill set. It allows me to demonstrate my value, and who knows? That other agent may be a better agent right now, okay? I'm not gonna win every one of those battles, okay? It might be the better agent for them.
But I guess you're trying to adjust perhaps even the way that they think, because they may be like, okay, well, Bob's gonna help me because I've known Bob for 20 years, but Bob might not answer his phone or be responsive to emails, and they might want somebody that's doing that. So I guess they have to look at it like an interview process.
Yeah.
Like you broaden your spectrum and see who can do this best for you. I might be that person.
No, very good. Do we have somebody commenting?
No.
Oh, very good. All right.
I have a question. I'm sorry.
Oh, please. I'm sorry. Never mind.
It's okay. So that's my challenge right now. I have a lot of people coming to me saying, I'm looking to move in a home by March or April, and 50% of them, they're like, well, I'm working on my credit right now, and it's not much I can do for them. And what I do is I just send them over to the lenders and say, hey, have my lender, run your credit, let you know what's on there, what you need to do to prepare to, grow it,
Sure.
sell the house. But I'm like,
But again, if they've raised their hand, even if I'm not, and especially at this stage in your
Right.
career where your schedule's a little more open than it may be a year from now, set an appointment with them.
Yeah.
Sit down, show them your value proposition, win them over right now to where they're like, they're not gonna give any other agent an opportunity to come between you and them. Right now, they haven't met with you, you haven't given them anything of value, you
no,
haven't given them
I
your
meet
time.
with them, yes, I meet with
Okay.
them. Yeah, I sit down and meet with them, have conversations with them, but I'm saying like,
Yeah,
it
well,
was like
until
what
they're
you
in a
were
position
saying.
already,
Right.
it's just maintain that
It just-
relationship now.
Yeah.
Ask
Okay,
them why.
it's
I always
making
ask
sure
them
they're taking that
why.
next
They
step.
tell
Most
me
of
they're, if it's credit,
Yeah.
well, have you talked to a lender to really know where your credit stands? And they're gonna say no, cause they think
Right,
Credit
that's
Karma's
what I'm
right.
Right.
And then, well, perfect. Can I have Lori give you a call and she can go on and run a credit report and then we can get things going. You're already providing a service when they tell you they wanna wait. Now, if they think they wanna wait till March or April cause they think they'll get a better deal, there's a whole nother way to go with that.
No, it's the
But,
credit
with
issues
the
that-
credit,
Yeah.
it's just having the lender call them. Don't wait for them to call the lender. Get the lender to call them, and that'll help sometimes push it, make it happen faster because
And that's
they
what
had
we are
no
now.
idea that
Thing
they
you
could
wanna
do
get
it.
them to do is always take a step. Every time you talk with them, we're wanting to get them to take a step
Right.
forward. So having that conversation with the lender, what's the reason for them to have that conversation? They know right now I can't qualify for a loan. In their mind, that's their fixation. I can't qualify for a loan, okay? I need to fix a couple of things, then I'll be able to. I don't need to take a step right now. That's their mindset. How do I take them off of that position and move them more toward my position, okay?
Right.
What's the value to them in talking to a lender? So we need to make sure we have that. I have a fantastic lender that specializes in working with people just like you. One thing that please, remind, don't go talk to a credit repair specialist
I
that's
told
going
them.
to charge you money
Mhm.
to fix your credit. I've had people before that made that mistake and it cost them a lot of money and didn't move any further forward. My friend Lori or Eric or anybody that you have a relationship with, because you may have your own, and I encourage you, whoever you use, make sure they have this mentality, okay? That I would love to get them in contact with you, because what they'll be able to do is they'll be able to look at your credit report and tell you, here are the things you need to do to get in the position, and this is how long it's gonna take.
Right.
Okay?
So that's what
So
we
they
are
lay
now.
out that plan for you, okay? Because there's things you may think you need to do that you don't, and there may be things you're unaware of that you could do very easily that would move you in a better position. Is it okay if I have them give you a call? And you're rarely gonna get a no to that.
Yeah, and that's the place I'm at right now. Meet with them, I'll have the lenders call them, and now we're just like in a holding period.
Okay. So they know what their plan is.
Yeah, I have a plan for them. Yeah, they have.
And now it's just a matter of following up with them and making sure, hey, are we on track? Have we
Yep.
gotten this done? And having the lender follow up with them as well.
That's exactly where we are. I
Okay.
just
Come to
wish,
fruition.
I think for me, I want that ready buyer, like,
Could you,
okay.
do you
And
think that
you
you
talk
could,
to enough people, you'll have that.
Yeah,
do
exactly.
you think you could maintain an emotional connection by perhaps, based on the conversations that you've had, sending them some, did they want this kind of house, just to keep you informed of
Yeah, I'll
what's on
send
the
them my
market?
app. I'll send them my app.
Yeah.
To, start, looking for homes, they'll rent
And
Just
like
working
me.
and
with
you
them
can
like
set
that
up-
and
and
start
And you
that
can set up
emotional
automated
connection.
searches
'cause-
for them.
Yeah,
Keep that excitement.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly, like
You
keep
can
them,
encourage them to, hey, as we find houses we like, this is a
Let's
great thing for you to do right now. On the weekend, go drive by the neighborhood. Identify the neighborhoods that you love so that when we're ready to pull the trigger, we can find that right home.
That's a
very
good idea.
quickly.
That's what I haven't
Yeah.
thought
Okay.
about. But yeah, they
That
do
gets
have the
them.
app. They're looking and all of that. But
So just
that's a
keep
good
them
idea to
engaged
drive
and
by the neighborhood
get
while
them
we're looking.
emotional.
That gets them into action.
Right.
and-
Because
and
it's
gets them excited.
exciting. I mean,
Right.
we just went looking at places this weekend and we were like pumped by the
Right.
time
Right.
we were
All right,
driving
guys,
home.
we got about 10 minutes left, so let's
Yeah.
get over here and work with the touch campaign. Okay, and as you go back and you look at the MREA model, we had two different primary touch campaigns that we worked with. Okay, And they've changed with what's being recognized today. And it's changed for the same reason that conversion rate of the 12-2 and 10-1 is changed, okay? It takes more contacts now to get the same results that we got before. It's really hard to get the same results. Why? What's changed in the last 20 years? Internet, marketing. How many
Open
advertisements do you see every single day? Okay? How many emails do you get marketing a product? We're bombarded by messages every single day. It's harder for us to get through that clutter, okay? So, but the purpose of the two different things are very much the same. So when we think about touching our database, once somebody goes in our database, we want to establish a relationship with them, okay? And we want to then maintain a relationship, okay? So we want to think about these two different campaigns a little bit differently. I just met somebody today, okay? Well, I want to establish a relationship. Well, I may want to have a campaign around introduction, building value. This is typically a high touch over a short period of time type campaign.
It's actually called a smart plan now if you're utilizing command. And campaigns are paid advertisement.
Okay.
So
So
the
this would
verbiage
be
should
a
be,
smart plan.
that would be a
Okay.
smart plan.
But there is not a 27 to connect in here yet. There's not
No,
a 36 touch over here yet.
no.
So, but this is normally a short-term, high-intensity call, text, email, face-to-face, really to establish a relationship and create mind share. This is more of a maintenance plan, okay? But even that maintenance plan has a lot of touches to it, okay? And it's a 36 touch. And we are really close, guys. We are hoping that in 3 weeks at Family Reunion, they are going to turn us loose. We can see they have started tweaking and changing our contacts page in Command. Our smart plans look a little bit different. Our smart plan page looks different now. They're getting ready to launch the next stage where we're going to be able to create our customized plans.
Praise
And so we're
Jesus.
super excited about that. The three things that are supposed to happen all together is our ability to bulk email, and our ability to set up custom campaigns. And what's the third one that's tied in with all of that? You know?
That new email service that we're using.
Yeah, MailJet. That's part of the
But
bulk
the
campaigns.
update, I believe the client side of the mobile app will also be launched here shortly.
Okay. So there's some really exciting stuff coming here. But the thing that I want you guys to be thinking about over here is really what the purpose is of a smart plan or a smart campaign. Okay? So there's a few things that these are both decided to do. One of them is to cultivate the relationship. So as you sit down to build your 36 touch campaign, we're going to talk more about that in just a second. What are the things that you can do? What are the types of interactions you would have with the people in your database that are going to cultivate the relationship? If it is all about you and what you do and how you've succeeded in doing this, it's not building the relationship, okay? So this needs to be focused on how do I build a relationship? Does that mean you never toot your own horn, never talk about your expertise or your success? No, but they can't be the focus of your smart plan, okay? Second is going to be reminding people how important referrals are. Okay? The third one is going to be get business from them, okay? So reminding them that you can satisfy a need for them. That don't just think of me when you're ready to buy or sell your house, you know? Think of me when you're ready for that investment property, okay? That's you know, a lot of people are moving to that stage nowadays. Other people in their immediate family, certainly that could be a referral, but a lot of people, you know, it's just reminding them and teaching them how to look for opportunities for us. Okay? So the thing that so many agents struggle with is this is what they feel like all the scripts are written around, trying to find out, do you have a need, do you have a need, do you have a need, are you looking to buy, sell, or invest, buy, sell, or invest, buy, sell, or invest, okay, and it's very salesy, okay, is the way that it feels. That's not the way we want it to be. That's not the way that it's intended to be. This and this are both byproducts of doing that really well, okay? If we focus on cultivating the relationship and demonstrating our value and letting them know how we can help them, let them know that we want to help them, these things will come naturally, okay? Does that mean we never ask for this? No. But every phone call I make does not have to be who do you know or do you have a need, okay? But if I invest enough time here providing them with value, is it okay for me to ask for something in return?
Yep.
Yeah.
You gotta earn it.
Okay. But I have to earn it. That's exactly right. I have to pour into their cup before I ask them to pour into mine. So how do we do this? Okay. The things that I want you to focus on with your 36 touch is how do I provide value? So, and ask yourself the question, if I'm in a conversation with somebody that does not need to buy a house right now, how can I provide value to them as a real estate agent? Okay? Who do I know? What tools might I be able to introduce them to? What connections can I make for them professionally even? Think outside the box. It does not have to be real estate related. If I make a phone call to somebody, all I care about is I mention that I'm in real estate, okay? That needs to be part of the conversation somewhere. It doesn't have to be a real estate conversation, okay? But they need to get off the phone reminded Trey's in real estate, okay? Does that make sense? Okay. So provide value. Next one, how am I demonstrating my expertise? Be that through market knowledge, knowledge of the industry, somebody that I've helped, referrals that, not referrals that I'm asking for, but where somebody has shared a success story about me. You know, how do I get that into my social media? How do I put that into an email campaign? And then the last one, show you care. Nobody cares what you know until they know how much you care. Okay? So show them you care. Call them just to check in with them. Call them to wish them a happy birthday. Call them to, you know, on their home-versary. Okay? Call them on your Facebook friend-versary, you know, or whatever it is. Just show them you're thinking about them and care about them and what's going on in their world. Okay? So as we do this is where I'm going to wrap up, is what does a 36 touch campaign look like? Okay? And we say 36 touch. There are top companies out there right now that are doing 80 and 100 touch campaigns. Okay? They touch the people in their database 100 times a year. Okay? That may be too much for you right now, and that's okay. You may have a 4-touch campaign. Okay? But the idea is we want to be touching them enough that they know how to month. So, in a typical 36 touch campaign, phone calls
4 times.
or personal visit 4 times per year. Okay? And Gary Keller will tell you that if you're going to get rid of anything in your 36 touch, this is the one you don't give up. Those 4 phone calls are more valuable than the other 32 touches put together. Okay? That's the most important thing that you can do. That's where you're going to build your relationship more. You want to talk to them 6 times a year? That's great. But make sure you're doing at least 4 times a year. Okay? That's once a quarter. It's really easy. And in command, right now, there is a quarterly call campaign. You can put all of your contacts on. Then you call them today, drop them on that campaign. In 3 months from today, you'll get a reminder in command that you need to call them again. So as you work your way through your database, okay, don't go through and drop everybody in your whole database and mass assign them to a quarterly call campaign. Or 3 months from now, you're going to need to call 360 people that day. Okay, call everybody you can today, put them all on a 3-month campaign, and in 3 months, you'll get a reminder. Okay, eventually you should have everybody in your database on that 3-month call cycle. Okay, what else might be part of our 36 touch? This is personal. You guys have to figure out what this is going to be for you. Certainly, it can be birthday cards. Okay,
Special dates, the kids stuff, weddings, anniversaries.
well, and the thing that I want you to think about is as our database grows, okay, this has to be leverageable.
Right.
Okay, remembering all of those dates and having an interaction for all 2,000 people in my database may be really, really difficult to have those types of dates. But certainly birthday cards or holiday cards.
There is 24 emails in the model, 24 emails in the year.
Yep, we're getting there.
Well, you're
So-
out of time and your appointment shows up at 2, so
Oh.
get there quickly.
Yeah, okay.
Yes,
We
ma'am.
really yeah, thank you. Yeah, so there are 12 emails and 12 newsletters that are in the plan, that are recommended. So that's a contact through email. Where so many of the large businesses are going nowadays is so much of their 36 touch is built around events. And those either being your events or you piggybacking on somebody else's event. So you're gonna have a booth at Snellville Days, okay? Not your event, it's Snellville Days, okay? But you're able to let everybody know in your database, hey, save this date, a reminder, I'm gonna be there. You've got your video while you are there, and then you're sending out an email saying, hey, it was great to everybody that came. Sorry that I missed you if you weren't there. Look forward to seeing you next year, okay? I got 5 touches out of that one event, okay? These can be pop-bys or drop-offs at somebody's house. As you guys are deciding and building your 36 touch campaign, come sit down with me or Susan, and we can give you ideas and work through what yours looks like, and then you build your calendar to make sure that you have that. Okay? So
And you have to have the database ready to.
have your database ready. Yeah.
to start
That's the
benefits.
first thing you guys need to do. Going back to is that creating the database and getting everything filled in. That's your first priority.